Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. We all operate under various day-to-day philosophies, probably unconsciously for the most part. But if you make those choices consciously, you're going to more consistently live by your philosophies and occasionally decide to change one. To encourage that consciousness, here are 17 issues on which people's philosophy varies. And for each one, I offer two quite different people's philosophies. The first issue is complex versus simple life. Most super successful, super busy people I know aren't happier than are people with a simple life, so why not choose simple? Here's the other person. My 5-ring circus life is invigorating. Sure, it's sometimes exhausting, but it's good exhausting. Being so busy, I'm too busy to worry about my issues, which is great. I'm happier. The next issue on which we can have a philosophy is around diet. If it's one thing that medical science has long agreed on, is that being slim improves health and longevity. So I eat mainly low-calorie food that I like. It's a small sacrifice. And here's a very different person's philosophy of diet. People who are fearful of death obsess about diet because they have some control over it. But diet is oversold. The importance of diet is oversold. The chance of my not keto, slightly indulgent diet is going to kill me, the chances are small. The chances of that diet, that pleasant diet, giving me pleasure is 100%. The next issue that people have a philosophy of is assertiveness. One person says, only the strong survive, let alone thrive, so I try to invoke my inner fierce badass. A very different person says, ultimately it feels wise and yes loving to, while not getting walked over, strive to be a gentle spirit among our often harsh world. Another such issue is internal versus external locus of control, that is, whether control resides within you or externally. One person says, I won't let my life be buffeted. If I want to live the life I want, sure, luck matters, but I have to do all I can. A very different person's philosophy is, who am I to be too willful? Again and again, the Bible tells us to surrender to God's will. For example, be not wise in your own eyes. God shall supply all your need. That's from Philippians 4:19. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. That's Proverbs 3:1. If you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. That's Matthew 17:20. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is around monogamy. One person's philosophy might be, cheating is playing with fire. Examples are legion of how affairs can tear apart even an otherwise strong marriage or other non-marital relationship. In addition, knowing you're faithful to each other can deepen the relationship. A very different person's philosophy might be, monogamy is unrealistic in a long-term relationship, even a good one. If the primary relationship is solid, straying can give great pleasure without imposing undue risk. And if the primary relationship is bad, it may be a good thing if the affair breaks up the relationship. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is mind-altering substances. One person might feel, I enjoy alcohol and weed. I can't worry about what may never hurt me, and if it does, it'll probably be a long time in the future. A very different person's philosophy might be, I don't want to hurt my body. There are lots of other ways to enjoy my time. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is work-life balance. One person might say, hey, my job isn't so contributory that I want to sacrifice time for family, fun, and personal issues. A very different person's philosophy might be, I find hours 41 to 50 or even 60, if I'm working for hours 41 through 50 or even 60, it's wiser than spending it on what I'd otherwise be doing. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is self-acceptance versus change. One person's philosophy might be, hey, at this point in my life, I am who I am. It's wiser to work towards self-acceptance than subject myself to yet another round of self-improvement efforts. A very different person's philosophy might be, I want to keep growing till the day I die. Sure, the growth is just incremental, but that has value too. Another issue we have a philosophy of is time consciousness. One person might feel, I feel sorry for all those people who spend their life racing to cram in yet another activity. I enjoy savoring. Yet another person might say, I feel worthy to the extent I'm productive. Besides, it simply feels good to get stuff done. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is process versus suppress. One person's philosophy might be, Hey, the juice in life is in processing what happens to us. That's why I like discussing feelings with my sweetie, and why I've been in and out of therapy my whole life. A very different person's philosophy on this might be, the more I think about my issues, the sadder I become. So after quickly deciding if I can solve the problem, I suppress thoughts of it and turn to my next constructive activity. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is cleanliness. One person might feel, I don't mind cleaning because it yields a concrete result and it feels good to have a clean house. Also, unless my house, especially my desk, is clean, I'm distracted. I can't be productive. A very different person's philosophy might be, undue cleaning is mere procrastination. Plenty of people can accomplish a lot in a messy office. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is parenting, or probably more than one philosophy. One person might feel, I've seen too many kids of lenient parents turn out bad. I believe in firm limits. A very different person's philosophy might be, I believe in giving a lot of flexibility to kids. They'll end up better decision makers if they learn from their mistakes than if I set all the rules. Besides, we'll likely stay closer through my lifetime if I'm not too authoritarian. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is charity. One person might feel, I am privileged, so it's only right to donate as much as I can to the less fortunate. A very different person's philosophy might be, I believe I do more good by investing my discretionary income in a worthy startup in need of money than in donating to charity. Plus, if I'm right, my investment will yield me a return. Another issue on which we have a philosophy is loyalty. One person might feel, in a world in which, for example, an already rich pro athlete will change teams to make just a bit more, it seems more important than ever to stick by your friends, and especially your romantic partner, through thick and thin. A very different person might think, loyalty is irrational. I think of all the executives and admins who remain loyal to a sleazy boss. You should befriend or be employed by someone only when ongoing they're worthy of you. Another issue on which there is a philosophy that we have day to day is perfectionism. One person might think, perfectionism is usually a silly indulgence. Sure, if you're a Rembrandt or Shakespeare, it's worth being a perfectionist. But for we mortals, diddling well past the point of diminishing returns is likely an excuse for not taking on the next project, which would require more effort. I think, for example, of the job seeker who keeps polishing the resume, which avoids the more difficult task of networking. A very different person's attitude toward perfectionism might be this. There's too much shoddy work in this world. I want anyone who hires me to know that I will strive for excellence. If they want quick and dirty, they've got the wrong person. Another area in which we have a philosophy, a day-to-day philosophy, is around praise. One person might feel, we all like praise, and if it's earned, I love giving it. It's the just and kind thing to do. A very different person's philosophy might be, too often when I praise someone, they seem to think I'm sucking up, or it confirms that I'm feeling less than them. And if it's a supervisee, she's more likely to ask for favors or for a raise, so I praise sparingly. And finally, an issue on which we all have to have a philosophy, conscious or not, is around death. One person's philosophy might be, I don't think about death. It's probably a long way away, and I don't want to poison the good times by thinking about something I have little control over, other than diet, exercise, blah, blah, blah. A very different person's philosophy around death might be, I won't know what being dead is like any more than I knew what life was like before I was born. And if the dying process is too painful, I'll get a doctor to off me. I'll fly to a state where that's legal if I don't live in one, or even to Switzerland if that's necessary. Okay, so is there at least one philosophy of yours that you would like to keep in mind? Is there maybe even one that you'd like to change? In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.